the shadows of society, a sinister force has emerged, captivating the hearts and minds of billions worldwide. The Unity, a mass cult led by the enigmatic Nelson Richmond, has infiltrated every facet of life, from the hallowed halls of religion to the gleaming corridors of power. The Unity wields an iron grip on the media, manipulating its message to shape public opinion. Television screens, radio waves, and social media platforms incessantly broadcast the cult's doctrines, brainwashing citizens into unwavering submission. Technology serves as a tool for surveillance and control, with tracking devices and facial recognition systems ensuring that every move is monitored. From the tender age of childhood, Unity propaganda permeates educational curricula. Young minds are molded into loyal followers, their critical thinking abilities stifled by indoctrination into the cult's beliefs. Universities become breeding grounds for future leaders who emerge from their ivory towers as fervent advocates for Unity's agenda. Unity has forged an unholy alliance with religious institutions, corrupting the sanctity of faith. The Pope himself has declared Nelson Richmond the Messiah and his emergence as the long-awaited second coming of Christ. Clergymen and religious leaders shamelessly promote the cult's doctrines, exploiting their influence to deceive the masses. Multinational corporations have also fallen under the cult's sway, offering their vast resources and marketing prowess to advance Unity's goals. Billions across the globe have flocked to Unity's banner, drawn by its false promises of salvation and belonging. The cult's logo, a stylized triangle within a circle, is emblazoned on countless tattoos and possessions, a testament to its pervasive influence. The flag of every nation has been replaced by the crimson-colored flag of the Unity. At the heart of Unity's control lies the Unity Pass, a microchip implanted in the right hand. This device holds all personal information and serves as a ubiquitous form of payment. Compliance is mandatory, and those who refuse to receive the microchip, otherwise known as the Mark of Allegiance, face social ostracism and persecution. For those who dare to resist Unity's monolithic authority, the consequences are dire. They are branded as heretics and outcasts, hunted down by enforcers and sent to labor or extermination camps. Dissent is met with swift and brutal retribution. Amidst the overwhelming darkness, there remains a flicker of hope. A small but determined group of individuals refuse to succumb to the Unity's tyranny. They organize in secret, spreading knowledge of the cult's true nature and inspiring resistance. Whether this flicker of resistance can ignite a flame that will overthrow the Unity remains to be seen. But for now, it serves as a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, the spirit of freedom cannot be fully extinguished.
Hello. I'm not sure if this is getting through, but it's day 63 since the Unity made the Unity Pass mandatory, the UP microchip, and I've been hiding now for 54 days, 55 in a few hours, and yeah, I left as soon as the enforcers started rounding up dissenters. Or the uncleansed, as they call us, the first few days of the law coming into play, the mandatory chip. We're pretty quiet, but I expected a lot of backlash from the public, but there was literally nothing. I mean, literally nothing. My neighbors, my friends, members of my own family, they stood in line waiting to get their tracker inserted, saying, you know, what can you do? You have to move with the times. The microchip will be convenient anyway, and plus we have no choice. We need to buy things. And without the chip, we can't do anything, participate in society. All that nonsense. Basically, they were very quickly fear-mongered into getting this enslavement device, which tracks your every move, monitors your conversations, controls your finances, controls literally every aspect of your life inserted into them. No consideration, no like, hey, maybe this isn't such a good idea, or maybe the Unity doesn't want the best for us, or maybe Nelson Richmond is the goddamn Antichrist. No questions, just blindly accepted and thought, well, if 90% of the friggin' world are signing up for it, it can't be that bad. That kind of attitude I really thought that when the Unity made this mandatory, people would be like, no, you've gone too far. But no, the fear-mongering worked, the brainwashing, the manipulation. Governments endorsed it, corporations pushed it, the media praised it. The goddamn Pope himself said this was for the betterment of humanity. Because of course, wink wink, Nelson Richmond is the Messiah, the second coming of Christ. I mean, when you've got enforcers doing your dirty work, saying you have no choice but to take this or we will hunt you down, send you to a labor camp, exterminate you, does that not set off a few alarm bells like, hold on, something is very wrong here? Well, you would think so, but no. The Unity repeated its doctrine over and over and over again, and the people lapped it up. It's for the good of all. It's a step towards a brighter future. Embrace the change. Don't get left behind. Stand in unity. Blah, blah, blah. The same mantras repeated over and over again. And us, of course, we were a threat. Oh yeah, the public were baying for blood, saying, wait, if we've all agreed to this, then they should too. It's not fair. We've agreed to being tracked for the benefit of all. We've agreed to the monitoring for the benefit of all. We've agreed to the new monetary system for the benefit of all. And that seed, of course, was planted by the Unity. They called us a threat to global security. Because if we're not being tracked, we can commit acts of whatever. We can disrupt the peace and sow discord because our conversations are not being monitored. We will create a new black market economy because we won't have access to the banking system, and with it, crime will go through the roof. All the things the great Nelson Richmond, the Messiah, rid the world of, and the people said, yeah, go get these people, these pariahs, exterminate them, for the benefit of all. And so that's what happened. Those who refused, those who voiced their opposition, those who protested instantly, the enforcers, the demon legions of the Unity, started rounding up these people. And I was going to be one of them until I packed my things. I had our essentials packed months ago. I could see what was coming. My wife and my teenage kids too. We could see what was coming down the line, but we held out until that moment when they started rounding people up, and we got the hell out of there. And we are as safe can be right now at this moment. But all we can do now is hide. That's it. We cannot let ourselves be seen by anyone. We cannot trust anyone. We cannot be heard by anyone. And luckily we're soundproofed as hell, but anyway, that's our existence now. It's like in the days of the Second World War, escaping Nazi persecution. Except it's persecution on a global scale, and it doesn't matter what you look like, where you come from, your ethnicity, whatever. That's not a problem for them. It's your freedom that they want to exterminate. I know, there's a lot of you out there just like us in hiding. I don't even know if you can hear this, or if it's just going out to the already enslaved. Either way, it doesn't matter. What matters is the message, because it is not too late to turn back. Rip that goddamn thing out of your hand if you have to. I know some people have said if you do, rip it out, a substance will be released from the microchip itself. Poisonous substance that will then go into your bloodstream, but I really don't know if that's true or not. It's most probably rumor, but regardless, if I had that thing in my hand, I wouldn't be trying to dig it out. I'd take a hatchet and cut my whole goddamn hand off if I had to. Those of you out there who haven't got it, please don't be coerced by anybody, your family, your friends. Well, actually, they're not your friends if they're encouraging you to sign up to a lifetime of enslavement. But anyway...
Dad, quiet. I can hear something. Shit, turn it off, Dad, turn it off.
Damn it, stay calm, everybody, just stay calm.
Dad, I'm scared. Dad.
There's more of us than you think, believe me. The numbers they put out there about minuscule amount of us, that's nonsense, absolute nonsense. I know at least 5 to 6 people, close friends, one of them here with me now. That would never take the mark, and if I know 5 or 6 And considering I don't know that many people, then there is a hell of a lot of others too who will have refused to take it and gone into hiding. These serpents, they call it unity, a grand, shining name for a prison built of fear and steel. They claim it's for our own good, that the chip or whatever is the key to a better world. Bullshit. It's nothing but a leash. The chain around our necks meant to control every thought, every action. They've already taken millions. Those who dared to question, to think for themselves, sent them to the re-education centers, they call them, but we all know what that means. Labor camps, torture, and for the lucky ones, a swift end. A bullet in the back of the head, their final act of mercy, and that's that. They won't win. We're not slaves, we're not just numbers, we're men and women, and we have a right to think for ourselves, and I'm fighting back every day in my own way, sharing the truth, spreading the word. And I know there are others out there hiding in the shadows just like me. They'll come out eventually. They have to. We'll rise up, we'll fight back, and we'll show them that their chip can't control our minds, their camps can't hold our spirit, their lies can't silence our voices. The unity will fall. It has to. 6 weeks. That's all it's been. 6 weeks since we had to disappear. Feels more like 6 months if I'm being honest, but I got my friend, good old John. He's with me. We've been friends since we were kids. I reckon we've been friends for at least 65 years, and we've got plenty of stuff to keep us going for a long while. I guess you call us preppers. We could see this coming a long time ago, and we gradually stocked up over the years. Our wives thought we both crazy, but yeah, unfortunately, our good ladies passed away both in the space of 2 years, and it's been 5 years since they passed. We miss them dearly, but there's some solace in the fact that they're not witnessing what we're witnessing now. When they passed away, the unity was in its infancy, I guess you could say. They were starting to introduce the doctrine into schools, and their doctrine was creeping into sermons at church. And yeah, our wives, good Christian ladies, attended church every week. Me and John, we skipped a few sermons here and there, but our wives, they were like, what in the hell is going on with all this unity stuff being preached by Pastor Willis? The name Nelson Richmond started getting mentioned, and how he was bringing peace to the Middle East and uniting the world's religions, incorporating all faiths, all that sort of stuff, and how he had a great mind for business and fairness within business. Yet Pastor Willis was singing this dude's praises like he was Christ himself, and he was reading more from the doctrine of the unity than the Bible itself. And our wives, they were getting tired of, but a lot of folks in the congregation were eating this stuff up that Pastor Willis was saying, and eventually, Nelson Richmond was all they talked about. All of a sudden, he was the Messiah. They prayed to him, prayed for him to come visit their church. They put pictures of him up on the walls. Every law he implemented to them, the congregation, was a law from God himself, and they followed it without question, and our wives spoke out about it to other members in the church, to Pastor Willis himself, and they were excommunicated from the church and told never to come back until they had reconciled their ways, and they were very hurt. I'm pretty sure that took a toll on their physical health and contributed to their deaths. They lost their closest friends and people they considered family. And soon Pastor Willis and the congregation were dressed in the crimson-colored garb of the unity, and above the cross at the front of the church, the Unity's logo was placed, eventually replacing the cross completely, because of course the cross was symbolic of the old ways, and in their minds this was a new era. It was Christ's reign on earth in the form of Nelson Richmond, and the circle with the triangle inside, the logo of the unity for them, was the new symbol of Christianity. The cross was forgotten and eventually became completely forbidden to display everywhere. And of course the likes of Pastor Willis and his congregation were one of the first people in line to get the enslavement chip. They believed it. brought them closer to God through means of technology because, of course, Nelson the Serpent, their great messiah, had endorsed this microchip, saying it would unify the world once again, like in the days of the Garden of Eden, before there was division and strife, all that sort of stuff. And so when people like us didn't get the mark of enslavement, they deemed us heretics, uncleansed. They were all for hunting down the likes of us, who were apparently bringing division to a newly united world and God's plan for the earth, and like a harvest, separating the wheat from the chaff and throwing the chaff in the flames. Well, we were the chaff and we had to be destroyed. But the most painful part of this whole thing is not the persecution or the fact that the world has lost the plot that happened a long time ago anyway, but it's not even being driven from our homes and having to go into hiding, which is the most painful part of all this. And the most painful part is how our very own children turned their backs on us, how they disowned us, acted like we were nothing to them, blanked us in the streets, refused to open the door to us, refused to let us see our grandkids, and just showed an extraordinary amount of hatred and coldness, which broke my heart, totally crushed me, and John as well. His kids did the exact same thing. They just got so caught up in this whole thing, and we became nothing to them, complete outcasts, and that is without doubt the most painful thing about this, but I'm just glad that their mothers didn't live to see the day when their children disowned them. But we're both holding on to hope that someday this madness will stop and our kids will come to their senses and want to talk to us again, because, of course, you know what it's like if you've got kids of your own. No matter what they do, no matter how much they hurt you, or how much they disappoint you, you still love them, and you forgive them, and you want what's best for them. So we hope that our relationship someday, and sooner rather than later, can be restored. We're hopeful but not naive. We know it's going to take a hell of a turnaround, and they've gone and got the enslavement chip put into them. And their kids, they got the kids done too. Hell, the youngest one is only 4 years old, and she got the Mark II, and that just really makes me angry at my son for doing that. I thought I raised him better than that, but millions of other kids around the world got it too. It's now fashionable and mandatory by the age of 16 to have one. Crazy, ain't it? But anyway, I'm going to get my head down for the night. John's already fast asleep. I probably bored him to death with all my yappering, but it's been good talking to whoever's out there listening. Whatever side of the spectrum you're on, I just want to get my views on things out there, and God willing, you stay strong, resist getting that chip of enslavement. If it's the last thing you do, refuse it. It's better to die a free man than to live bound by the chains of tyranny. Ain't no doubt about that. So make a stand, spread the word, get the truth out there, encourage each other, and we'll speak soon. Okay, good night, folks.
I was part of the system, but I didn't know the extent of the horrors in the so-called re-education centers. They're just camps, extermination camps. There ain't no re-education. There ain't no labor going on. It's just the extermination of those who pose a threat, who they deem could potentially cause a threat in the future. The majority are refusers of the chip. And before they sent me to work there, they did tests on me. They showed me very graphic material and I guess measured my heart rate to see what my reaction was to the material they were showing me, and I passed with flying colors, surprisingly, because my stomach felt like it was turning. Looking at what they showed me, I'm not going to go into detail, but it was horrific, the most disgusting things imaginable. Anyway, I got chipped before I went in, and I didn't know what the job entailed, but now I know why I was shown that material. It was to desensitize me for what I was going to witness in there, and I could take no part in it. I had to get the hell out. It sickened me to the core and scared me half to death. So in the place I was working in, they call it Burkwood. It's about 20 to 25 miles outside the city, and there's a newly tarmac road, narrow road that leads into the forest near Penton Creek, and about a mile down that road you come to what looks like a bricked off farmyard, basically, with enforcers, or security I should say, who man the gates. They also patrol the area in the Crimson Unity Jeeps we've become accustomed to seeing around the place. And anyway, they manned the gates. I had an identification number within the microchip, which they scanned, and the number was my OIN, short for occupation and identification number, and they would scan it, and then I would get the green light to go ahead to enter the premises. Once you're inside, there's a massive unit, like a huge warehouse, but it's only about 8 feet high, one single door at the front, no windows, nothing like that. And on the left, there's some porta cabins, which are makeshift offices and small housing units for the workers, basically. But the last porta cabin is a chipping center, is in a place you can go and get your microchip implanted. And on the right, backing up against the wall of the compound, there's a bar, canteen, a small pool, place where you can chill or whatever. But anyway, back to the warehouse. It's got a single pipe that feeds through the roof of the building. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's a gas chamber. Well, you're wrong. The warehouse isn't a warehouse at all, or chamber. It's a tank, a huge tank, a human aquarium. It's packed full of people. The refusers, the uncleansed, who think they're in a big waiting room, basically, awaiting their next destination. And when that door closes, the tap turns on until the water reaches the ceiling. When the screams stop from inside, door at the back allows the water to drain through a dam-like system into a storage container, while the bodies, they remain inside the tank. The bodies are then removed and taken someplace else outside the camp. I really have no idea where, but it was my job to take the bodies out of the tank. And so the drownings, or the Unity's baptism, as they call them there, it repeats day after day. People from all over the state, the country, I don't know, brought there to be drowned using the same water that was used to drown the others the day before. Water full of vomit and excrement from the panicked people inside, urine, even blood from them clawing at each other trying to reach the surface, only to find that there isn't one. And while all this was going on, I was in a state of kind of like a dream state, or nightmare I should say. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and my mind was covered in a fog. I saw these people enter what I thought was a warehouse. And then the next minute I hear a whooshing sound, and it was the water coming through the pipe, and then the screams followed, and I just couldn't believe what I was witnessing, and I vomited. And one of the enforcers said, "Yeah, they make me sick too." And then he laughed, and I had to then take the bodies out for them to be loaded onto a truck. And my knees were weak. I felt faint. I was having a panic attack. And one of the enforcers said, "Hey, buddy, don't worry, you'll get used to it." And he told me to sit down. And I was just, in that moment, I just wanted to die too. I had witnessed the unthinkable, an evil beyond comprehension, the absolute depths of human depravity in front of my own eyes. And I was complicit in it, but I don't know, my instincts to do something, just anything at the time, didn't kick in. I mean, what could I have done? Nothing, but I could have tried something, anything, knowing what was happening as the water poured in and the screams sounded. I could have tried to open the door, or tried to turn the water off, something. If they had shot me trying to do it, at least I could have said I tried, and died with some sense of peace of mind. but I didn't. I can't change that. But anyway, I went back there the next day out of fear that they would track me down if I didn't turn up for work and throw me in the tank. So I went back, same thing, same routine, taking out the bodies, and was sick to my stomach. But I had to hold it together, and that's when I saw my neighbor from 3 doors down, Jeffrey. He was amongst the bodies, and I presume his wife Claire was probably in there somewhere too. As for the kids, I don't know. I don't want to think about that, but I decided there. And then I ain't coming back to this place tomorrow, and I ripping that chip out of my hand, even if I have to bleed to death in the process. So I went home that night shaking, feeling sick. I could hardly drive because I couldn't grip the steering wheel anyway. I went home, took my sharpest knife from the kitchen drawer, and no hesitation, because I felt numb anyway. I drove it in my hand, and with relatively little work, I removed the chip, and that was that. Packed my stuff and hightailed it out of there. I bandaged up the wound. It was bad, obviously, but not horrific. I disinfected it, did what I needed to do, and that was 3 days ago. And since then, my hand has turned a sort of lead color, grayish, you could say. It is completely numb, and my bones all over my body are aching. It's like there's a weight being pushed down on them. My eyes are bloodshot. My nose is continuously bleeding. I can't seem to stem the flow. The inside of my mouth has developed sores and blisters. My vision is deteriorating, and I'm urinating blood. Now, this is either the worst man flu in human history, or there was a substance inside that chip that leaked into my system and caused this. There is no other explanation for this. It is not as a result of infection in the wound, nothing like that. Not a random illness. It just coincidentally appeared after I removed the microchip. It is a result of the microchip directly. I am certain of that. And I'm pretty certain that my condition will continue to deteriorate until I eventually succumb to it. Every day it's gotten a bit worse, and I am so low on energy I can't even stand up. I can't eat because I just throw it back up. Can't drink neither, because that just comes back up to when, like some people were saying, there been a substance, poisonous substance in these microchips that's released if you try and remove them. Well, it looks like they're right, judging on my condition, and yeah, you can remove them, but there's fatal consequences to it. But I don't know if it can be removed in a way that doesn't allow whatever's inside it to leak. I don't know, but maybe the chip itself has sensors, and when it's been tampered with, it releases this substance. I really don't know, but obviously I can't seek out medical help. I would just end up in one of the tanks, end up having one of the Unity's baptisms. So my fate is sealed. I have to just wait here in this rundown shack, wait for the inevitable. And I just hope that the process isn't a long one, that I go quickly. And with that, I'm going to sign off and say to everybody listening, hang in there, resist this beast of a system, this slaughterhouse. Don't take that goddamn chip. Run and keep running, hide, and hide for as long as you can until maybe someday sanity prevails and this whole thing blows over. And if you got the chip already, I don't know what to say. If I had to get rid of it now, I would cut my whole hand off to be rid of it. Anyway, I'm gonna go now, so good luck and goodbye.
Ain't no way they sticking no damn microchip in me. I ain't no domestic pet that need be tracked. These are some crazy ass bitches, y'all. If they think they gonna get me, hell no, you can flog me, beat me, torture me. Ain't no way in hell you getting me to take that shit. Yeah, that shit is the mark of the beast for real, y'all. You can't buy nothing without it. That means you can't sell nothing too. They got your ass monitored 24/7. What you say, what you doing all the time. I ain't got time for that shit. Come on, my homies. You with me on this, y'all? Come on. Our ancestors spent long enough with their ass in chains. Slaves to the system. Ain't no way we gonna back doing that shit. I ain't getting on my ass track while picking no goddamn cotton in some back ass Alabama redneck hollering God-forsaken shithole, y'all. We gotta stay strong. Build the numbers of resistance. If you ain't got no weapons to protect yourself and your family, you best get out to them woods and start chopping some trees and make some spears and shit. I ain't no survivalist, but I've lasted this long, y'all. Foraging and shit, eating berries, leaves, whatever I can. I ate a big ass worm yesterday, y'all. Raw too. And I was like, damn. Yeah, I gotta get me some more of that shit. Cause it's all about learning to appreciate what you got when you got nothing. And when you slurping on a fat ass earthworm, that's when you know you ain't got shit. So you best enjoy it. And we gotta make connections too. We gotta connect. We can't be all divided and separated and shit. We gotta organize networks, y'all. Networks of resistance. We gotta be a real pain in the ass to these crazy ass Nelson Richmonds in every way possible. We gotta be converting, dissuading others from taking the mark. Is that what it is? It's the mark, y'all. You can gloss it up with whatever name you like, the Unity Pass, the UP, the path to a brighter future, whatever you want to call it. It's the mark, y'all. Mark of the beast, tip of enslavement. So we got to spread the word, man. Spread the truth. There's more of us out there than they letting on. Come on, them statistics. Bullshit, y'all. I've seen more truth in a bull's actual shit. What crazy ass people be out there getting this thing implanted, man. I mean, I know they indoctrinated you with this shit, but like, how could you be so susceptible to their bullshit, y'all? My ex-girl, she got it too, but when the Unity first started coming on the scene, she was like, you know, these dudes, this is some crazy ass called Darnell. Next thing you know, she preaching this shit. Like Nelson Richmond, he's Christ, the Messiah, all that shit. And I'm like, yo, girl, get your shit together. They got it in your head, girl. Nelson Richmond be all up in your head, messing with the wiring shit. And you gotta untangle them wires. But she was all like, Darnell, you're a conspiracy theorist. You crazy. And then she turned real nasty. She was like, Yardell, get your ass in order. Give your life to the Messiah. You need to get right with God. And I was like, yo, listen up. I'm all good with the big man above. Ain't no issues there. Me and the big man be talking things out every night since I was like 7. So I'm all good in that department. But anyway, she said, Darnell, get your stuff together and get the hell out. And I was like, wait, what? But yeah, I packed my stuff up. I took Leroy with me. She was like, no, hell no. Leroy stays here. And I said, my ass, Leroy is staying here. You don't know what Leroy needs. You never spent no time with him. That goldfish is coming with me. So I got Leroy here. He looking good. He having the time of his life. Change of scenery. and all that, you know. And yeah, he's swimming around looking revitalized. He out of the hood now, and he's enjoying the scenery out here. All just doing what a goldfish be doing. So he, my little companion. So that where we at, just me and my homeboy, do what we gotta do to survive, y'all. Ain't no two ways about it. Try and survive. That all we can do. But we got the Unity drones flying around. They looking for people living off the grid. They trying to make sure there ain't nobody out there getting away with not being marked, y'all. And I can't make contact with nobody face to face. Because, you know, they could turn me in these chips, notify a person when another person is not chipped, and then that notification go to the Nelson Snitchman headquarters or whatever. So, me and Leroy, we got to keep a low profile, got to check our surroundings all the time. But fish be good like that. They sense shit. They know when something be fishy. But anyway, y'all, I'm starving. I gotta get back to my foraging and hunting them big juicy ass earthworms before the birds be getting them. So for now, catch y'all soon. Darnell and my boy Leroy here, over and out.
This is Radio Free Humanity. This is a message for the few, the brave, the ones who still remember what it means to be human, to think for yourself. This is for those who aren't blind to the truth. 3 years ago, the world changed. 3 years ago, Nelson Richmond and his twisted unity cult took over. Politicians, all the global leaders, religious figures, the media, the world, they all bowed to his will. The whole world, under the authority of who we call the beast. 3 years ago, the world changed. 3 years ago, Nelson Richmond and his twisted unity cult took over. Politicians, all the global leaders, religious figures, the media, the world, they all bowed to his will. The whole world, under the authority of who we call the beast. They call it unity, but it's a lie. It's control. They've turned our children into drones, feeding them propaganda in schools. The news you hear, the stories you see, they're all carefully crafted to make you believe their warped vision of the world. The microchip, they call it a convenience, a way to pay, a guarantee of safety. But it's a cage, a mark of the beast, a constant reminder that you belong to them. They track our every move, every transaction. We become nothing more than numbers in their system. But remember, there are still those who resist. We may be scattered, we may be hunted, but we will not give up. This is a fight for our souls, for our freedom. This is a fight for humanity. I'm here, hidden, but I'm not alone. There are others like me fighting the good fight. We're the ones who still believe in truth, in love, in our right to choose. If you're hearing this, if you're still listening, then you are not alone. We're here fighting for you, fighting for the future. Don't lose hope. Remember who you are. Remember your humanity. And when you can, join us. Together, we can break their chains. This is for all of you out there, the ones who know what's going on, the ones who haven't swallowed the lies of Nelson Richmond, the beast. It's hard out there, I know. I feel it every day. You know, just yesterday, I saw one of their drones circling above my haven. It's like they can see into your very soul, these drones. But we have to be smart. We have to be vigilant. Remember, they want us to be afraid. They want us to cower in the shadows, but we won't. We are the resistance, and fear is not a weapon we wield. Remember the rules. Always keep your comms secure. Use the coded phrases, the ones we share on the network. Be mindful of your digital footprint. They're watching, always watching. Don't trust anyone, not even those you think you know. You never know who might be a sleeper agent, a pawn in their twisted game. And remember, if you're caught, don't talk. Don't give them any information. It's better to suffer in silence than to betray the cause. There are others out there fighting the good fight. We're not alone. We're a network, a whisper in the wind, a thorn in Richmond's side. Listen closely. The enforcers are out there. They're sniffing around looking for any sign of resistance. So stay vigilant, be smart, be silent, It's the only way we'll survive. Now, I know many of you are struggling. The food rationing is brutal. The patrols are relentless, and the pressure to get the mark of unity that microchip Nelson Richmond calls a blessing is unbearable. But don't give in. Remember, they want us to be hungry, scared, and desperate. That's how they control us. So what can we do? First, food. Bartering is key. Share your skills, your knowledge, your extra rations. We are stronger together. Look for the underground networks. They'll be hard to find, but they exist. And for the love of God, for the love of freedom, do not get that chip. It's a mark of slavery, a cage for your soul. They call it a blessing, a way to connect us, to protect us, but it's nothing but a tool to control us. Stay strong, brothers and sisters. We have a weapon they can't control, our minds. We think for ourselves. We fight for ourselves. Nelson Richmond can't control our thoughts, our dreams, our hope. He can't control the spirit of freedom that burns within us. But the enemy is clever. They're not just using brute force anymore. They're trying to infiltrate us, to sow seeds of doubt and fear, and they're doing it by copying us. Think about it. You've seen broadcasts, heard whispers of new pirate radio stations popping up. They're using the same language, the same coded messages, the same desperate hope of a better world. But be warned, this may be a trap. Richmond's system knows we rely on these broadcasts, on the comfort of knowing we're not alone. They're trying to use our own methods against us to lure us into their web of deceit. They're offering false hope, promises of safety, but it's all a ploy to isolate, capture, and silence us. We need to be vigilant. We need to be cautious about who we trust. Listen to the broadcast, but listen for the whispers. Look for the subtle differences, the small inconsistencies that betray their lives. This is for everyone out there, the brave souls who refuse to bend the knee, who refuse the mark. You see, it's not just about control anymore. It's about extermination. They're not just taking away our freedoms. They're taking our lives. They're sending us to the camps. They call it the Unity's baptism, a twisted parody of faith, a sick joke. Imagine being forced into a tank of water, drowning, cold, and alone. That's their baptism, their unity. A baptism in the name of Satan for those who will not bow down to Nelson Richmond, the self-proclaimed savior. They call it a unities, but it's nothing more than a mass burial, a watery grave for the innocent. The true believers, those who refuse the mark, refuse to worship him. He claims to be a god, but he's a monster fueled by fear and power. And the worst part, they're celebrating it. The propaganda machine screams about how we're purifying the world, how we're bringing unity through these drownings, but we know the truth. We see the truth. We know they're killing us, and we won't let them forget it. Every day, every broadcast, we will tell the world what they're doing, what they've become. So you see, they're trying to silence us. They think they can control the narrative, rewrite history, erase the truth. They call themselves the New World Order, the Church of Prosperity, the embodiment of all that's good and righteous. But they are a wolf in sheep's clothing. They are the beast, the Antichrist, and their leader, Nelson Richmond, is the mouthpiece of the devil, weaving his twisted web of deceit around the world. They've cleverly masked their true intentions. They say they're building a better world, a utopia, an era of peace and prosperity, but their words are hollow, their promises empty. They have lured the rich and powerful with the promise of unimaginable wealth. The poor and downtrodden with the promise of security and stability. They have blinded the young with the dazzling lights of technology and the old with the promise of eternal life. They have enslaved the minds of the world, one by one, making them believe that they are free while they are prisoners of their own fear. But I tell you, friends, this is not the end. This is the beginning of the end. This is the time we were warned about, the time of tribulation, the last days. The truth is out there, hidden in plain sight, buried beneath layers of lies and deceit. It's a truth that speaks of a higher power, a power that cannot be subdued, a power that will ultimately triumph over evil. It's a truth that whispers of hope, of redemption, of a new dawn. Don't lose faith. Hold on to the light, to your beliefs, to the promises of the future. Don't let them break you. We are not alone in this fight. There are others out there listening, waiting, hoping. We are the resistance, the remnant, the salt of the earth. We will not be silenced. We will not be broken. We will rise stronger than ever before to reclaim our freedom and our destiny. And when that day comes, we will be ready.
Deep in the shadows, you're listening to the voice of truth, the last bastion of freedom in a world drowning in lies. They call it unity, they call it progress, they call it salvation, but it's nothing more than a twisted cage built by the beast with the blood of innocence as its foundation. The chip, the mark, the supposed key to a better, a more integrated world. It's a leash, a tool to control every aspect of your life, to crush any dissent, any spark of independence. They tell you it's for your own good, that it protects you, that it eliminates the chaos. But the truth is chilling. They're rounding up the unchipped, the unyielding, the brave souls who refuse to bend to their will. They're stripping them of their dignity, their freedom, and even their lives in those cold, isolated camps of extermination. And what chills me most, the acceptance, the blind obedience, the people are so deeply brainwashed, so caught in the web of deceit, they believe they're doing the right thing. They justify the killings, the disappearances, the terror. They call it necessary, the camps. They call them re-education centers, but they're death camps. They kill us off, dispose of us like trash, and the world watches, silent and complicit, brainwashed by the lies of the unity. They think they're safe, protected by Nelson's twisted vision, but they're blind. They're sheep willingly marching towards a slaughterhouse. We must disrupt the unity system at every turn. Refuse their mark, their propaganda, their false promises. Use your voices to spread the truth, to expose their lies, and to inspire others to join the fight. Let us not forget the countless heroes who have gone before us, who have stood up to tyranny with nothing but their faith and determination. Their stories remind us that even in the darkest of times, hope can prevail. The Almighty will have the final say in this conflict. His vengeance will be poured out upon those who have persecuted his people. But until that day comes, we must fight with every fiber of our being. We must show the unity that we will not be silenced, that we will not be broken, and that we will not surrender our freedom. Nelson Richmond, they call him a savior, the Messiah, but the truth is, he's the devil incarnate. It's no coincidence that he rose to power with the blessings of the Vatican, infiltrated long ago by the tentacles of occult societies. They paved the way for his ascension, for his twisted vision of a world under his control. The perfect world they promised. The peace he sold us with cheap smiles and empty promises. You see it too, don't you? The way they twist everything, how they silenced dissent, how they made Nelson Richmond into a god. Remember when everything was chaos, the wars, the famines, the endless fear, and then he came along. The man with all the answers. He ended the wars, the fighting in Ukraine, the bloodshed in the Middle East, the tensions between the West and the East. He cured diseases, brought prosperity, and the people, they loved him. They thought he was a miracle, a savior. But that's the deception, the great deception. He's a serpent shrouded in the skin of a lamb. He preaches peace, but sows discord. He claims justice, but tramples on our rights. He's Nelson Richmond, and he's the devil incarnate. You see, he doesn't want peace. He wants control. He wants us to kneel before him, to worship him. He's built a gilded cage, a prison of conformity with the promise of safety. But it's a lie. We're the ones who are free, the ones who dare to speak the truth. We're the ones who fight back against the tyranny of the unity. This radio is our weapon, our voice. We may be scattered, but we're not broken. We're not silent. So listen closely. Spread the word. Don't let their lies go unchallenged. Don't be afraid. We're not alone. This is Radio Freedom. Signing off. Stay safe. Stay strong. And remember, the truth will always find its way.
Testing. I think we're on the air, but I'm not sure.
Should be good. I think got out last time and we did it that way.
Yeah, let's hope so. If you can hear this, this is, well, we decided to call ourselves Spark Radio. I don't know. We just thought we could be that spark that somebody needs to gather the courage, the strength to defy the unity, the chip, the mark, whatever you want to call it. Richard wanted to call it simply Resistance Radio. But yeah, I think there's probably already quite a few with that name, so the spark it is.
And plus, I never won an argument with you before, and I thought, what's the point? We're a husband and wife duo, by the way, and well, guys, you know what it's like. It's best to just concede defeat and move on with your life, but not concede defeat to the unity. Never. That's a whole other story. Only to your wife, it's not worth the hassle trying to convince them.
Well, thank you, Richard, for those beautiful words. What a charmer. No wonder I married you. But anyway, the only thing I agreed with there was the don't concede defeat to the unity bit. That's what we're all about. Encouraging resistance, encouraging some fight back, not violent fight back, with your refusal to bow down to this system, to refuse the chip at all costs. And we know the cost. We know where those people who refuse to get it end up. If they get caught, that is
the tanks, the Unity's baptism, sick pieces of shit.
Richard, can you please show some professionalism, some restraint, instead of just blurting out stuff?
Well, they are sick pieces of shit. What would you call them? The servants of Florence Nightingale. I could call them worse than sick pieces of shit. They are a bunch of
Richard, that's enough. My goodness, you really are... never mind, but look, we are not here to call people names Richard. That's my point. We're not going to win people over when we've got you on the air blabbering your vulgar mouth off. So just shut up, Richard, and let me do the talking.
All right, honey. The mic is all yours.
I apologize for my husband's behavior. He's probably had a bit too much to drink.
Hell yeah, I'm living it up.
But anyway, we are just here, or I am at least to tell all of you out there who are hiding just like us from this unfathomable persecution, that you are not alone. There are so many like us out there, and we are sticking together through thick and thin. We will never succumb to this. We will hold our heads high and refuse until the end. And if that means we end up in one of their re-education centers, then so be it. Now, I don't know how long we're going to be on the air, so I have to make what I say count, and what I'm about to say will probably be the most profound words that I have ever spoken. I've written it down. So here it is.
Hey, Michelle, what does this button do?
No, don't touch it, Richard. Don't touch any...
Small but vocal minority who cling to their irrational fears and refuse the microchip. These conspiracy theorists are nothing more than ignorant fools who refuse to embrace the progress that our uni offers. They peddle lies and misinformation, sowing doubt and fear among the populace. Their delusions are not only dangerous to themselves, but to all of us. By refusing the microchip, they become unwitting agents of chaos and division. They endanger our collective health and well-being, threatening the very fabric of our society. So, we must not allow these moronic nut jobs to obstruct our march towards a brighter future. Here, stain on the tapestry of our enlightened unity, and the sooner we eradicate these vermin from our midst, the sooner we can achieve our full potential. But to those who refuse the mandatory microchip, I say this: you are not heroes. You are not brave rebels standing up against tyranny. You are fools, being led astray by the Pied Pipers of conspiracy and fear. You're standing in the way of progress and unity, and your actions have consequences. And if you choose to stand in our way, then know this: you will be cut off like a diseased limb that endangers the rest of the body, because that's what you are. You are a disease, and we won't let you drag us down with you.
For those who choose to remain in the shadow of the old world, who reject the light of unity, understands your time is running out. The mark, the chip, is no longer a choice. It is the seal of your salvation, your acceptance into the new order. Without it, you are a disease, a festering wound on the body of unity. You will be hunted, you will be eradicated. The old world was built on greed, on violence, on division. Unity offers something different. It offers unity. It offers peace. It offers a future where the weak are protected, the strong are guided, and everyone serves the greater good. But this new world demands sacrifice. Hear me now and hear me well. The world has changed. The world is unity and unity only. Your defiance is meaningless. You think you can hide. You think you can escape the embrace of the unity. We know where you are. We know what you whisper in the dark. We are listening to everything you say. You think we haven't cracked your code words already? You are wrong. It's only a matter of time before you self-centered, backward, idiotic conspiracy theorists are caught and there will be no mercy shown to you, and rightfully so. To those who have the mark of unity, what an exciting time for us all. Look at the change the great unifier has already brought to the world. It was chaos before, bloodshed, hatred, division. But then he came, our savior, our leader, Nelson Richmond. He revealed the path to peace, the path to true unity. And with that unity, he has brought us the ultimate gift. It's more than just a chip. It's a gateway, a doorway to a future beyond our wildest imaginations. The mark is the key to a world without hunger, without disease, without war. It's the key to a world where every heart beats as one, where every mind works in harmony. It's the key to a world where the power of unity transcends all boundaries, all differences. I know some of you out there, even in this new world, are afraid. You're scared of the mark, of the change it brings. But I tell you, there's nothing to fear. The mark is not a shackle, it's a liberation. It's freedom from the shackles of the past, from the chains of fear and doubt. Nelson Richmond has shown us the way, and we must follow. We must open our hearts to the mark, embrace the future, and live as one under the banner of unity. This is our new world, a world built on love, on peace, and on the eternal promise of unity. This is our future. This is the dawn of a new era. Thank you for listening, and I'll be back on the air probably at the same time tomorrow. Remember, spread the good word, the gospel of unity, and be on the lookout for the unmarked. Report any suspicious activity, and to the unmarked, that horrid disease that threatens the body of unity, remember, you will be found eventually. So just do what you know is the right thing to do.
The chip, they brand us like cattle, claiming it is for our own good, but we know the truth. They want to break us to erase the spirit of resistance. I know their whispers, their promises of a better world, their camps, their extermination camps are waiting for us. They want to silence us, to eradicate any memory of what we once were. But let me tell you something. We are not alone. There are millions like us, hidden in the cracks of their world. We are the embers, the sparks that can rekindle the flames of freedom.
The unity's getting on the pirate waves. To y'all, see, that's them fearing us. They scared no matter what you say. Crazy lady, whoever you was with your unity gobble wobble, we ain't taking no goddamn Richmond chip, and you can bet your ass on it. We here for the long haul, lady. You hear me? To the long haul. And we are gonna mess this shit up for real. We're gonna be a thorn in your side, a spanner in your works, a goddamn pain in the ass, right between Nelson Richmond's butt crack until the day we die, and you better believe it. When he wake up in the morning, he gonna be like, hey, what's that pain in my ass? That's us. When he eating his breakfast, he gonna be like, damn, I got a pain in my ass. That's us. When he go to bed at night and he can't sleep because he got a pain in his ass, that's us. We gonna be constant pain in the asses of anyone who endorsing this shit. We gonna be that fly you can't swat away. We're going to be popping up like pop-ups at a computer virus festival. We're going to be the hole in your sock that you only notice before it's too late to change them. We're going to be the ketchup on your tie, the mustard on your white shirt. We're going to be the hair in your suit and the dog shit that you step in, Mr. Richmond. We are going to be one big, massive pain in the ass.